everyone, Ivy League Gaming here, and today we're playing Watcher of Realms. For today's video, we're going to do an ultimate beginner's guide. We're going to go in depth trying to cover all the aspects of the gameplay that you might have questions about as a new player.
The finest blood for the most untainted soul.
So this video is going to be a bit of a long one, but I will include chapters in the description over as many categories as I can. I also have notes for this because I want to try to talk about things in a logical order and try not to forget anything. So if it feels like I'm reading a script or the vibe feels different, it's because I am trying to make this an efficient video, or else this could probably be a 2-hour long conversation, let's be honest. But I'm going to do my best to cover all the bases from the very beginning of starting your account through some of the basics of the different modes of gameplay, gearing characters, who's good in what. Like, we're going to talk about a little bit of everything. So let's get into it. So when you first get your account rolling, one of the big things in gacha games to decide whether to do or not is re-rolling or not re-rolling. This is the kind of game where you kind of can go either way, but it depends on your desire for time invested to possibly just keep restarting. Personally, I think the game is generous enough with its summoning system to not have to feel too pressured to get a perfect start. We get plenty of diamonds, we get rare summoning crystals, and you have a pity system that's pretty typical of gachas, but is more generous than some, even though it sounds bad, because even the lowest level heroes count toward the pity. So you actually end up doing a lot more summons than you would expect. So I don't think re-rolling is necessary, but if you want to do so, sometimes you can try to get lucky and time them when there are special events, like an extra legendary event or a really good 10 times event. But some of the special events, like a 2 times, or I think even this guaranteed new, which everything would be new at the beginning anyway, those are not going to show on the very first days of an account. So you're better off just playing and seeing what happens. It should also be noted that there seems to be a soft pity system regarding getting a legendary hero within your first like 60 to 70 summons. So keep that in mind, that as you're playing and grinding out, you should get a legendary a little bit sooner than the worst case scenario, which would be 200 summons. So if you're going to decide to reroll, it's really just about getting a good hero. But honestly, now there's been so many heroes added to the game that I don't think it's a big issue, because there's so much variety and some of the epics are top tier. You don't necessarily need a legendary to progress through a lot of content, especially early on. If you can get started with some of the best legend or epic heroes in the game, they are going to take you far, and their heroes you're going to use throughout the entire game through the end game. So don't stress too much. While you can make that decision on your own of rerolling or not, I don't think it's necessary. Now, once you get started, first you're going to want to go to your settings area, which is when you click the profile picture. If you like what you got and you know you're not going to reroll, make sure you click your settings, which is here behind my head, and bind your account. You see, like, bind to Google Play Games, Facebook, or VK. Make sure you bind to something. Otherwise, if something happened with that device and you had to restart the game, it would just restart on a new account because you wouldn't be linked to anything. So make sure you actually bind your account and don't risk losing it. The other thing to note here is in your settings, you're going to want to make sure you have your best graphics turned on. The game sometimes, depending on the device, will default lower because it will suggest what it thinks you should use. But honestly, at the end of the day, yeah, you're going to want to turn everything up and see if you could handle it. This does have a PC client, which is what I'm on right now, which runs very smooth. So you don't have to feel too stressed about whether or not you are, destroying your computer, because it's not that bad. It's also not that bad on the mobile device. So try the more lovely game settings. Try the higher frames per second before you, worry that it's going to be too taxing on your device. Also, while we're here in settings, I should mention the promo codes. So make sure you use any active promo codes. There is this redeem code section here, and that is where you go to enter promo codes. There's always something active, it seems. Sometimes as content creators, we get temporary codes. Sometimes there's holiday codes, event codes from Facebook, from Discord, all over the place. And I always do my best to try to give you guys the most recent promo codes at least once a month. So there should actually be that video posted on my YouTube channel in the suggested top part. But just go to my YouTube and look in the videos and find the most recent promo code video, and it should go over all the recent working promo codes. Now, those promo codes are really going to help you get started, including summoning, like we were talking about. When it comes to summons, I do want to give the advice that using your diamonds for summons is totally normal in this game, totally acceptable, and what you should do. Don't overly worry about saving diamonds for stamina, for energy early on. Probably not even for the first few weeks, hell, even the first month for most people, because you're not going to be farming crazy amounts of stuff to where you want to waste your diamonds on the stamina to get meh gear. If you just farm with events and farm with the hero's path, which we'll talk about in a second, you are going to do just fine getting enough gear to progress, enough resources to progress, and it's okay to focus on summoning and using your diamonds because you want to get as many legendaries as possible, as many great epics as possible, and make sure you have a diverse roster. Once you get a little bit into your game, progressing through your campaign, you are going to unlock this feature, or I'm not sure if this is account level or campaign level, but you're going to get this little $ here where you can sell your heroes. It's always okay to sell your 3-star heroes, except you're going to want to save certain ones. So, I mean, I have a good variety here. This is a good chance to tell you who to save. When it comes to your rare heroes, the blue ones, you're going to want to save Cuke here, this one. You're going to want to save Decimus here, this one. He's great for Gear Raid too. And you're going to want to save Autumn, who looks like the spring girl, but is not her. She's really great as well. And also Narvi, down here, the very last one, she can be used for the sake of boosting your cost regeneration, which is going to be huge in some cases. And hell, some people even use Alucas here, this rare at the top as well. You could also save 1 copy of the Lords until you get better versions later on, just to take advantage of Lord bonuses. But for the most part, lock a few of the key rares and sell the rest. Don't sell your 1-star or your 2-stars though. Those are used for fodder. So I guess we can talk about that now. All right. Quick Star Up is a feature you'll see here. This will come a little bit later once you again progress through campaign. A lot of the content and features in this game are based on when you progress through campaign. So if it looks different for you in the beginning, it's because it should. You gotta kind of do the campaign and get a better feature. But you will manually be able to choose to increase your food. So 1 stars to 2 stars, 2 stars to 3 stars is kind of the order you want to do things. And then 3 stars to 4 stars, 4 stars to 5 stars, right? Exactly. But save some 4-star fodder for your epics. I would not check the box behind me here that says consume rare heroes, because you don't want to use those for this quick starring up or any starring up for that matter. You want to use the rares for diamonds, aka summons. And on the note of using heroes, when you get a dupe of a hero, you actually can get some bonus back when you awaken them. So as you can see here, I have like all my epics awaken 5, even if I'm not using them. It's totally fine to do so because you get fodder back. So when you awaken a hero and choose a duplicate of them, it will actually give you the equivalent of like it's called like a psychic power. It's like a equivalent of a duplicate. So you can improve the heroes you're actually using or not using, having them on deck because you never know when they might become viable. You can actually get like a 4-star chicken, as we'd call them in some games, or a 3-star chicken, or a 5-star chicken. Even when you awaken a legendary with duplicates, you get something back for your efforts. Yeah. But it should definitely be noted that there are some special resources in this game that you don't want to use lightly. These legendary soul resources here, you don't want to just use them on anybody. You want to save them very specifically for a very few select heroes in the game. And that's something I would definitely not use until you ask some advice. The safe bet is awaken 1 on this character, Twin Fiend. That's what most people save it for. But if you already have him, awaken 1 like I do, there's some other decisions to consider. And probably not using it at all. When it comes to your epics, you're also gonna get soul stones. So let me find an epic that's not fully awakened. Okay. So epics also have this soulstone material, so do rares. And these also in the beginning are a lot more scarce than what it looks like I have now. You want to be careful about who you use them on as well. I think the safest bets are this guy here, Demos. Taking him to awaken 5 is amazing because he ignores defense and he becomes a really great damage dealer and guild boss. Also the Lord Wrath. We get Wrath for free from the daily logins, and you get a duplicate of him at day 44. So taking him to Awaken 3 or Awaken 4 with Soulstones is very good to wait for that last copy, and then he'll actually have a self-heal, and he's a very strong hero. So you kind of want to save those stones for the rare to pull heroes, which you might not be aware of who that is, but really it's more the lords, like the ones with the little crowns on them here. That's who should get your soul stones for the most part. Besides a rare to pull hero or a really good awakening one on some of the best heroes like Dolores or Maul. Some of the heroes are really, really strong with just that awakening one. Or an Idril is a very common to pull hero and has an amazing awaken 5, but I wouldn't use soul stones on her because she's super common to pull. Now, when we're talking about awakening our rares, that is kind of, you don't really need to do it because the stats are not great. It just gives a little bit of a boost, but it's cheap to do, so you might as well. There's a few rares worth saving, like this, go on this one. As I said, Voltus in the beginning, you can definitely use him. He's good. She's good for specific purposes. And yeah, just in general, when it comes to awakenings, it doesn't matter if the hero's good or bad, just for epics or legendaries, just awaken them. Don't bother with the idea of using them for fodder. You'll get plenty through the 1-stars and 2-stars by doing content and summoning. You don't need to use them for fodder. All right, but what you do when you get your epics awaken 5, for example, and there's nothing else left except for selling them, you actually get a resource back, which there is a shop for this, so it's pretty good. I would not ever sell a legendary no matter what's in the shop. Don't do it for a summon. Don't do it for an ancient summon. Just don't do it until you have them fully awaken 5. Just be safe. You never know when someone that even most people consider terrible is dramatically buffed, or we find a niche use for them. So even the worst legendaries should not be crunched for other resources. But once things are awakened 5, boom, go ahead, sell your epics and eventually sell your legendaries, and you can get some resources for a shop. Now, one thing I've shown and talked about is campaign unlocking. you are going to progress through your campaign here pretty easily early on. Chapter 9 is way harder than the rest of it, so don't stress out too much. But you're going to want to progress in your campaign right away. Keep pushing until you can't push no more. And if you get stuck in normal campaign, go to hard. And even when hard unlocks, don't wait to finish normal to start doing hard. Start doing hard. That's where you unlock your gold raid. And there are some important milestones in the game where you must have unlocked certain levels of hard or normal in order to access them. And just because you're not done with normal doesn't mean you can't do the stages of hard. You'd actually be surprised to know that the hard stages in the early on are pretty easy, and they're easier than the hardest stages of normal. Same thing with expert. Eventually you'll open expert, and expert, you can start doing the early stages of expert while you're still working on normal and hard, honestly. So don't be too intimidated by the new difficulties. Just go ahead and try them, and try to 3-star stuff as you go along, so you don't have to go back and do them again. Like, this is annoying. I've got to go back and do that again. There's also these special little bonus spectral rifts, which I always forget to do, that give you extra rewards as well, which are going to be very easy for me now. But hey, it's free summons, right? It's free resources, it's gold, it's all sorts of things. So make sure you don't forget to do those. Along with that, you're going to be following the storyline. So I can't show it right here, but you will have something called the hero's path. Following the hero's path is going to be your best way to progress in the game overall. It's going to tell you to level up certain things to a certain level, and to get a certain type of gear from a gear raid, or do a whatever promotion raid. That's going to help you naturally gain resources, and you will be able to, I don't know, progress in a logical manner. And so if you just play with the storyline, with the hero's path, you're going to be setting yourself up for success and not wasting extra resources. The hero's path is how you get Volca for the first time. So you definitely want to do that. She can be a game changer for when you get her awakenings later on. You also want to play with events. So Duel of Champions, this is the time to do extra arena. Brave Conquest, this is farming gear and artifact material raid. Corridor of Glory, leveling up, starring up, and promoting your heroes. Playing with events and Oracle Trials is the way to go to make sure you're not just randomly using stamina for no reason. Play with the hero's path, play with events. Now, what do you do every day when you first open the game? Let's talk about daily tasks. So, first of all, you're going to have lots of red dots to clear, right? You're going to get some free stuff daily, like these little daily luck bonuses. Just go ahead and collect those. You'll get these free, here we go, free daily bundles and weekly free summons as well. And then, yeah, you have daily quests to do every day. Sometimes there's special events where you get an extra resource for something fun, but don't worry about that too much. The best thing is just do your basic dailies until you can claim. Don't have to summon every day, and don't do it. I highly suggest you do not do your perform one summon every day. It's completely unnecessary, and you're just going to waste your summons. You can get all your progress rewards for your daily claim with your diamonds, and just leave this one little thing behind, which is not that important. And that's it. Like, there's no reason to waste a summon every day. The only exception being the very first week of gameplay when you start your account, you get 1 week of a bonus free summon. Obviously, go ahead and do that. But after that, do not waste your summons on your dailies. And always try to pay attention to your weekly and your monthly quests as well. Once you hit this daily, you make sure you have done everything else too. As long as you're doing all the basic dailies, you should have no trouble. Monthly, the same thing. This should always be the last thing you're doing, is just signing up for the days. You should be clearing stages. You should be leveling up heroes on a regular basis. And you're naturally going to very easily do your monthly and your weekly challenges. The challenges overall, there's certain ones for following on Discords and stuff. There's a bunch of other challenges you're going to get early on. So just keep an eye on what's to come, and maybe there's something quick you can do to get some free diamonds to help you get those early summons in. Other daily tasks to note are obviously collecting your idle rewards as you play. There is also this thing called Tide, which you're going to want to make sure you always claim your loot every single day, even if you're stuck. Like, I am stuck, okay? I mean, I won't be stuck after a moment, but I decided to just sweep. Always sweep, even if you can't progress in your waves every day. Early on, Tide is going to be very easy though, and you will progress. Make sure you do all 3 battles, then claim your rewards every day. It's a ton of resources, and you need to work on improving your talents. And then eventually you'll open up these peak talents, which will help you progress even further. Another thing you're going to want to do daily is go to your Dwarven Association. So this is our shop, like a resource shop within game. Every week you want to buy your extra summons. Every week you want to buy the arena summons, and this stamina potion is every single day. I buy this every day. From the black market itself, you get some free refreshes and some cheap ones. Pretty much here, when you're very desperate early on for your first few pieces of gear, go ahead, buy a few pieces of gear. Blue, purple, whatever you need, just buy it. When you switch and you get to legendary and you have like no legendary pieces and you're so excited to be able to have a chance, go ahead and buy a few pieces. But eventually you really aren't going to need to do that, and it's just going to feel wasteful. Other than that, if you're not farming a ton of experience raids or doing a ton of summons, you're gonna need to buy these guys from the shop as well. Not the ones with diamonds, but these low-level fodder. This is gonna help you to be able to get more 2 stars to 3 stars to 4 stars to 5 stars for maxing out your heroes. So you will eventually need to do that. Maybe not right away early on, but you will notice there will be times where you feel like you're low on fodder. So go ahead and buy those from the shop with your gold. The only other thing you should really be buying with your gold is really the insignias when they show, but don't buy these with diamonds. I'm going to hit free refresh, and here we go. See this insignia, 3,000, buy that. This one, blue, buy that. This one, buy that. I do not buy the yellow highest level ones because it's only one and it just doesn't really feel worth it. But the low level purchasing of these, you're going to progress very quickly in most promotion raids. You don't want to have to go back and farm the low level stuff. And this is a very easy way to allow you to get some extra resources very cheaply and not wasting your stamina. Speaking of stamina, when it comes to spending your diamonds in the black market Dwarven Association, the huge stamina potions are a good way to go. Also, the big energy, like lightning bolt, and your summons. And I also go ahead and I free refresh until we get to the point where we have to spend diamonds. Like, I wouldn't buy anything here, and I'm not worried about buying actually, I'm low on fodder. I should be buying it right now. I'm low on fodder. Okay, we're buying that. We're skipping the gold one because it's only one. It's not that great. And yeah, everything else is diamonds. Nope, don't need that. Early on, when you first start getting mythic gear, you'll probably want to go ahead and buy the actual mythic pieces that show up. But so, actually not too bad, HP and a defense bonus. But eventually you might feel like it's kind of a waste because you're just farming it anyway. But it's always something worth a gamble, especially if it's a set you like. All right, now I'm gonna spend gold to refresh every day. I also personally like to buy the auto battles. That's just a quality of life improvement to easily farm, so I always try to buy those. And the game likes to lag sometimes. Here we go, we're buying those. Refresh one more time, and this is where we're gonna, all right, see, stamina 100, boom, buying that. And all right, stopping there. You see, I have a refresh with diamonds. I'm not gonna do that anymore. That's kind of where I stop every day. On to the guild shop. This is getting a revamp. There will be demon soldier chests here for Guild War. Those will be what you're probably going to want to buy, at least the epic better or the legendary yellow better version, but this is a different thing. We're about to have a big update in the game, so this will look a little bit different once you are watching this video probably. So I always personally, I will buy the demon soldier chest and I will buy the rare summons, and then I will also buy the legendary skill crystals every time it's available because those are so important for progression. The artifacts are not the greatest, honestly. I don't think I would overly worry about buying those. Maybe this one, so you can have some self-heal. This one's okay early on, but it is going to fall off compared to other ones eventually. So it's up to you whether or not you want to buy that and know that it's a limited time for usage. Gold bonuses here are very expensive, so be careful using those. But if you are going to farm a gold raid, you don't want to do it unless you have a bonus. So if this is the only way for you to obtain a bonus and you really, really need it, early on, I do suggest using the gold bonuses with your gold raid, and it's an okay way to help get you stuff to level up your gear. Once you start getting mythic gear, it's very expensive to level. The arena shop. So, arena. We have, again, the stamina is every day. Buy that every day. The rare summons are every week. Buy that every week. Other than that, you want to buy the fun things that pop up here at the bottom. Once you get into the areas where you can, boom, boom, boom. Those reset once a month. As you can see, that's 30 days. In this last ancient summon, you have to be in Overlord rank in order to get it. Other than that, I would say most things you're probably not going to need. Maybe these if you're low on epic skill crystals. For me, I've been buying the legendary artifact essence because I've had a very bad luck pulling a specific artifact that is really needed for some end game guild boss that is legendary called Nightmare Samsara, and I have not been getting dupes at all of it. It's like the rarest to pull legendary yellow artifact, I think. So I will go ahead and buy this. So that is my final maxing out of my Nightmare Samsara, so I can finally stop buying that one. The Awakening Shop is another one to pay attention to. You might get some good soul stones. Once you have a ton of epic dupes, you're going to have like this. It's going to be crazy. But they are supposed to be updating the shop, so hopefully that happens sooner rather than later. But if there is someone really rare to pull or someone you really need to get an Awakened 5 on for an epic, go ahead and buy them. There's a ton of resources. You won't feel bad. Just don't sell your legendaries just to get one stupid ancient summoning crystal, because more than likely you're just going to get a rare from that. Also pay attention to the legendary skill crystals. Sometimes these are the cost of the gold coins. Sometimes they're the purple ones. So just pay attention and make sure you buy those when you can. This is also a cheap way to buy auto fights and XP bonuses once you're later in the game and just have an excess of nothing else to use them for. So it's okay to do that. Again, also in the arena, the XP bonuses are really cheap here too. You don't want to farm the XP raids without having a bonus turned on. Never farm without a bonus turned on for those special resource raids. Now on to the money shop. Let's go behind me here. So when it comes to the diamond shop here at the bottom behind me, the best thing to do is to be able to buy potions here. Make sure you have stamina potions on hand for farming. I'm always, see, I have a lot. Because I will always buy a big batch of them when I have extra diamonds, so I resist the urge to spend them all on summons. But like I said earlier, using them on summons very early on is a good thing. Eventually, when you get to the point where you have plenty of heroes to work on, you feel like you've got a lot of great legendaries you're happy with, and you're starting to farm higher levels of dungeons, especially if you can hit like the stage 18s of the gear raids. That's when you really want to start buying potions and be able to farm a lot. Or once you've done chapter 8 of normal campaign and you can farm stage 7 of the experienced raid, you're going to want to blast a ton of experience potions or get a whole bunch of experience potions with stamina and with an XP bonus turned on. So sometimes you might need to buy an XP bonus this way, but usually there's other ways to get it, so you don't need to resort to that. But I wouldn't spend money on other stuff at all in the diamond shop. Just eventually, once you're farming higher levels of content, you can buy stamina potions. Now, when it comes to spending money, the privilege card is a great value, honestly. I buy the 6 months. It's so much quality of life for a fairly reasonable price. not the best, not the worst, but it starts out cheaper, and then after you buy it once, it's a little more expensive. Same thing with the monthly cards. These start out cheaper, and then they're a little bit more expensive. I always buy the stamina here, as you can see, remaining 24 days. But if you really want to buy the summons, it is a good value. It's $15 about for 40 summons a month. That's way cheaper than the average value of a per summon. You just have to wait and get one every day. So it's a really, really good value if you want some cheap summons. Other than that, I really like to wait for the really special things, like these special bundles, or value packs where the blue summons are $1 per summon equivalent or less, or when they have the special level up bonuses. When you hit player level, like I'm getting close to level 80, once I hit level 80, I will have a special pack to buy with summons and resources that is really good value. I definitely suggest if you're going to be a low spender to buy the level 10, 20, 30, 40 packs that pop up that are limited time because they're really good value for summons. There's also an Iona pack that is really great to start with because Iona is a very, very good AoE mage, so you won't regret if you get her. Once you get playing a little bit, you'll also open up your battle pass, the dragon pass. I definitely suggest this for low spenders as well. Lots of great resources, a ton of summons, a ton of rewards, and it can really, really help a lot for a low price. Even if you don't purchase it, there's still a ton of stuff, so make sure you do your daily and your weekly quests every day for the dragon pass. Although if you miss some, don't worry. It does cap out at level 50, and then after level 50, you just get a little bit of gold. It's not that much. So there's always plenty left over. Like, you know, I think we're usually in like the 70s for levels, so don't stress too much about the dailies and weeklies if you miss a couple, but just try to progress as much as you can, and if you miss some, you miss some. It's not the end of the world. One thing I'd like to note about events is they do have wonderful holiday events, unique boss challenges. There's something called the Immortal Codex now as well, which is unlimited battles to try to get the best points you can. There's lots of fun stuff to do, and these also come with redeem shops that seem to reset. So there's going to be holiday events that have really great shops where you're going to want to buy the most important resources like skill crystals, unique artifacts, or of course summons. There's also going to be a shop for the Immortal Codex, which is your way to get gear recasting hammers and some extra summons and other resources as well. So always pay attention to your special event shops. Don't forget to use your resources before they expire. That is one thing I really love about this game is the events are great. The events are generous, they're fun. The shard summon events where like we can get a legendary hero for free. This was very, very attainable for even the most basic free-to-play player. You just had to do most of the events and you were good to go with very minimal or no summoning needs, which is really cool. And when they do the epic heroes, you can get 2 copies of a hero as well. So the shard summon events are something that this game really nails. Plus all the holiday stuff, there's always ways to get extra special rewards too. Now let's go into some gameplay and actually talk about it in a little bit better detail. So there's a lot of things that really matter. Positioning. Let's actually show an example of artifact material raid. All right, I'm going to do a hard battle. It's quick. But one thing that's really fun is that positioning in this game really matters, and you can do a lot and get creative with it. So like defenders can attack all 3 sides. But then there's some people like, I'm gonna plop Velcra on the other side over here on the right. Where is she? There she is. She is unique and she hits forward, but she can also hit behind her without spinning around. So that allows her to stretch across, attack enemies coming from both sides, and have people actually, like, I don't know, and actually kill people without spinning, which is really cool. But for the most part, fighters are going to spin around and attack, so you actually can position things in ways that really, let's see, how can I, let's go here. Let's just bring someone in. We're just going to use this as an example, this floor. So like, see, she has this range. Your range is always going to be very important. But see, she can attack, you can attack all four sides. So if you face this way, they're going to spin around and attack enemies as well. Like if you face a certain way, they're going to spin around. So let's say, okay, Wrath is a fighter. I want him attacking here. He only attacks one direction. You can see by this arrow. But if people come up behind him, he's going to spin around and attack behind them. That's a really important thing to know. Sorry, he's not positioned good. Don't mind the boss. But that's what I was mentioning. Velcra here. She's unique in that she doesn't have to spin around. So you got to pay attention to your heroes and use what makes sense. Like the defenders are always great because you can position them in ways to cover multiple areas. Let's actually get out of here. I don't even know what I was doing there. Let's get out of here and let me show you a better example of that. I'm going to head into the promotion raid to show an example of how positioning your fighters, for example, is really important and how you can cover more bases. See, like Velcra just got placed sideways, not facing forward, because she can cover this whole damn thing. And also, people are gonna spin to the side. So, okay, Demos here. He got positioned facing forward because we were attacking someone that was there. But he's gonna spin around and attack what comes behind him. Or anyone here can be faced faced inward. See, Volca. Volca was placed facing this way because she's gonna be able to help anything that's walking by that lane, and she'll spin around and attack what hits her as well. So it allows them to cover multiple lanes. That's the kind of stuff you really need to learn with positioning. Like having a defender block and then having a fighter on the side to help with anything attacking in that lane, plus in their lane, is a really, really smart strategy. But there's a whole lot to deal with positioning for all the different types of stuff, so that's a whole video on its own, but I wanted to give a couple quick tips first. An important thing to also consider is your timings. So, like, you're not going to want to just blast your ultimates randomly until there's enemies in the way. You want to wait until it's the right moment. So, in the beginning, you're going to have to click your heroes and then use their ultimates. But once you progress a little bit, you'll unlock some stuff at the bottom here, which you can kind of see grayed out behind the auto fight. And that's where you can actually do your ultimates by double-clicking them a lot quicker and easier than having to click and find each hero. So if you notice that right away, seems hard to do that, don't worry, you'll unlock that feature. You'll also unlock this circular thing right where my head is. It's right above my head there, right there. That thing is an auto casting feature. So if you're going through progressing really easily and you set up all your people and they're good to go, and you just want them to use their ultimates whenever they're ready, you can hit the auto casting feature and they will automatically use their ultimates as soon as they're ready or as soon as an enemy is in their sight to where they can actually attack. But some of the heroes will only attack if an enemy is within their range. Some will use their ultimate immediately even when no one's around. So you just got to get used to your heroes. Play everything manually, which you kind of have to do in this game anyway. It's very hands-on, and learn how they behave. So in some cases, using the auto casting might not be ideal. I'm going to briefly go through and talk about each little raid mode here. So on your main screen, you're going to see this button, Raids. This is your different types of combat every day or periodically, depending on what's happening, that you're going to be doing. So first of all, the promotion raids are how you get the insignias to star up your heroes, which are really, really important. Overall, the best place to farm is going to be stage 15 when you need the legendary ones eventually, or extreme 1 when you just need some epics. But keep in mind, extreme 2, you can get a little bit of everything, including stuff you might not need. So I actually prefer farming stage 15 for the most part. Once you get progressed a little bit later, you will find that this progression is probably going to happen pretty fast for you. More fast, I bet a lot faster than you'd expect to get to the last stages. The promotions are pretty easy depending on who you get as heroes though. And I don't think the extreme levels are the best options for farming because you'll actually get less of the, if you need legendaries, yellow, you're going to get less of them there than you are here. So keep that in mind for those. But overall, they're going to be pretty self-explanatory. Everything is designed specifically for each type of unit. And this is a really good way to get familiar with the way they work. So I really love the way they do promotion raids. And a quick note back on promotion raids. So don't underestimate the value of promotions on your characters. The star ups give huge bonuses, sometimes change the range of their attacks, or even add extra skills or talents. So it's really important to promote the heroes you're using. Resource raids are how we get our experience and extra gold. Once you get late game, you will not need to farm gold raids for the most part if you get really picky in which gear you save, and you be careful about which ones you level up to level 16. Once you get the red gear, oh, it's expensive to level those. So I do find myself randomly still going to the gold raid just to be lazy and farm a ton so I don't have to stress about perfectly cleansing my gear. Experience raids, once you start getting to like, you want to push your campaign as high level as possible because that's how you unlock your experience raids from normal campaign. You want to farm like stage 6 and stage 7. Definitely stage 7 if you can, as soon as possible to be able to level up your heroes, because leveling up your heroes is huge. Stage 8 is what you get from campaign 9, which is very hard to do. So don't stress about stage 8 of the experience raid. Just farm 7 if that's all you can do, because there's a massive gap from the difficulty levels of campaign 8 and 9. So don't let that stress you out. Just farm stage 7 and you're good to go. The gold raids upgrade their stages based on your hard campaign. So keep that in mind before you go too crazy farming your gold as well. Of course, we have our guild boss, which can give some pretty hefty rewards every day. Oh my goodness, I forgot to go back and do 3. But overall, progressing in guild boss should happen pretty fast as well. You can even use the little poison, uncommon and or advanced and rare heroes early on that actually can do a ton of damage. But overall, when it comes to this, what you're going to be wanting to do early on, let me go into a battle here. You're going to be looking for the timings of the shield and then the spits. So you're going to see here, everyone is the same. So the meteorite impact, okay, infernal roar. The boss is going to meteorite impact, boom, and then destructive spit. When you see that red destructive spit bar happen, that's when you blast your ultimates. So early on, the best advice is to save your ultimates for when that destructive spit happens, blast them all, and attack the boss while it's in its weakened state as well. It might be hard for you to just continuously hit like we try to do in the later stages until you're very late game. And early on, you just want to make sure that you can survive. If you don't blast that shield, which is going to happen again in a moment, you're going to see, I think, what is it, a minute and 40 or a minute and 30? A minute and 30. Yeah. Boom, a minute and 30. If you don't blast the shield at the top, if the shield doesn't go away, you're going to see this gray shield bar that happens at the top when that happens. Then the boss is going to do a massive AoE damage, and you're more than likely going to have your entire team wiped. So saving your ultimates for the guild boss, that is a huge key for success in this battle. But try to do the best you can. And this is also not the kind of game like the other game that a lot of you guys probably came for, where you try to 2-key the highest level, 3-key the highest level, 4-key the highest level. For the most part, you're not going to do that. It's better to, except for maybe the very final stages, some people might say it's worth doing 2 keys to try to get the rarest resources in the game. But you're better off getting 1 key on easy, 1 key on normal, than doing 2 keys on normal to get the highest chest. Like, you're better off getting the, let's say, easy top chest and normal second chest than you are just getting normal 1 chest of normal top 4. For like, and kind of keep that in mind for all of them. You only get 2 every day, so you're better off, again, 1 on hard, 1 on nightmare versus 2 on nightmare. Keep that in mind for your best rewards possible and the most rewards possible. Artifact material raid is how we farm to get artifacts. And this is a very good, a very fun way. It's got some unique strategies here. There's some special strategies with drawing the boss across the line. I do have a video of stage 13 on my channel, so you can watch my stage 13 video if you're looking for help. I've also posted a video on my harder stages beat more recently, like stage 18, but there's some really early game strategies that make it pretty easy. You can use your poisoners to cheese content, literally Cuke, the rare poisoner, or Cutter, Screef, the green ones. They can actually help you cheese the content to easily beat Salazar in the very early stages. So that can be a way to progress here. But it's a unique one with one boss. It's really a fighter check. If you don't have a lot of fighters, AMR, Artifact Material Raid, is pretty hard. Tide we already talked about. That's where you get a bunch of great rewards as well. So keep in mind that Tide is the one thing I said, make sure you do your onslaughts daily. But as you progress, this is how you get the soul stones to make your Volca better. This is where you get a lot of those epic soul stones to get the wrath and your best epics to their highest awakenings. So definitely try to constantly progress in Tide. Then again, gear raids. So gear raids are where we get our gear. And as you progress through different levels, you're going to unlock the special stuff. The special red sets at the end are stage 19, 20, and 21. That's very hard. Don't worry about that anytime soon. But what you're really just looking to do is to progress through each little milestone. Like try to get to stage 10 to start farming that legendary gear as fast as possible. Then stage 13 to farm the mythic gear. That's going to be your goals. And it does get really hard with the jumps. So like they're different here. In gear raid 2 and 3, stage 10 you start getting mythic gear. So just pay attention to the fact that there are different strategies for different, every gear raid requires a very different strategy. Gear raid 1 is more about AoE damage. Early on, you can definitely use marksmen and mages and AoE fighters. Later game, the mages are going to be a little bit more important for gear raid 1 because of the armor types on the units having heavy armor. You need magic damage. Gear raid 2 is going to be a survivability check. This one is really fun as well, but you really need to have good tanks and use some good strategies and even cheese the content a little bit with like the rare hero Decimus. But this is a survivability check with good healers, good tanks, and good damage mitigation. Gear raid 3 is a marksman check. It's all about taking out the single targets that come through with this fancy boss will come up the middle and you're going to get a ton of heroes coming at you in different waves. And this is best for those single target damage dealers to be in the middle. And then you'll probably have some AoE marksmen like the epic hero Maul, for example, could be on the sides, or Brienne is a great example. Also, Idril is one of the best heroes in the game for the hardest level content. So this just shows you, look at this, stage 21, guys, epics. It's not all about legendaries in this game. You can get away with epics as well. So don't undervalue those heroes. Next up, we have the faction trials. You don't unlock this right away. You will first unlock your basic trial to farm to make your Pantheon better, which is just something you're going to want to do every day. Make sure you don't forget your basic trials. Just progress as far as you can, and then whichever level you get stuck on, just farm it. And then you are going to unlock more for the factions eventually, but that won't happen right away. So when that comes, just try to be aware and then try to progress onto the other stages after. They did add some really hard stages after stage 9 that are quite the challenge, so don't be too stressed if you can't progress far, but luckily the rewards are pretty damn good. They give out some summons along the way, and they even give a free legendary hero random card here at the end once you beat all of the faction trials. So a really cool reward to get as well. Speaking of rewards, this game does have achievements, and one of the best achievements is hitting Gear Raid Stage 18 on all 3 of these. you get another of those legendary free, like a free legendary card. And that is a really great goal to have and keep in mind. Now, on to our guild section. We talked about guild boss. You obviously have your daily guild boss to fight. There's also something called guild war. So there's going to be a preparation phase, a battle phase, and calculations that you march into battle and you have to garrison a team. You have to set up with your, with your team. And you can even watch battle records once that actually starts happening. But this is a whole nother level of content. I'm not going to go into that right now, but just try to be active and help your guild. Being in an active Discord is really helpful so people can communicate, give suggestions, and help each other out. But I'm sure if some people just don't care at all about Guild Wars, fair enough. But at the very least, try to do a little bit and help your guild. Or try to make sure you're in a guild where nobody cares about Guild War and it's just not a priority. But everyone should do their part and try to get some rewards. They are going to be revamping the rewards for Guild War from what's shown right now. What I'm posting right now is from a beta season, but there's going to be a new season starting right after called Season 1. It's going to be the official public server of our public season of Guild War. So stay tuned for that. There's also these training stages that give free heroes, so pay attention to what the training has to offer. And then there are heroes called Demon Soldiers, which you affiliate your heroes to, and that's who you actually use in battle. There's a whole ton of aspects to this that is just completely different and really fun and really unique. And they're constantly evolving it based on the community feedback and how like their statistics are showing for certain characters that might be a little too overpowered, that they are gonna knock down a peg, or ones that are kind of boring that they're gonna bring up a notch. So stay tuned for different content on that. Look up Guild War as the new stuff rolls out. So most content creators will be making videos on the public Season 1 when that launches because there's lots of changes. All right, also with your guilds, there's going to be something called guild donation. That's not here on my screen at the moment. There's going to be another way to get guild coins. There's also guild quests that you want to make sure you're doing. Claiming these rewards. It's how you get your guild coins. It's how you help your guilds out. Make sure you do your guild boss attacks daily, plus whatever extra thing that is here on the list. And of course, there's a guild ranking section. All right, now on to Arena. Arena is an interesting part of the game. Don't mind that I didn't hit Overlord. Yeah, but let's not talk about that. So they're just adding an Apex Overlord category for the rankings. And they're also changing the types of teams. They're getting rid of sustained DPS, and they're changing some of this a little bit. But pretty much you're going to go in with your fights, and whatever you use on offense becomes your defense team. So there is no setting up a separate defense, at least not as of now of this recording. There is no setting up a separate defense for Arena versus your offense. And your opponent's BP will be the factor for how hard your battles are. So even though you can absolutely win with lower BP, keep in mind the opponent, the actual enemies you're fighting are going to be harder than expected. I'm probably going to get my butt kicked here, but let me just show you one. This is going to be changed again slightly after this video is posted. They're adjusting some things about Arena. But in Arena, you're not fighting each other. You're fighting the environment and seeing who can kill things the fastest. So this is going to, again, slightly change a little bit after this video. But overall, this is the point. It is about who can kill things the fastest. And hopefully you win. Sometimes you have to sacrifice a round to get your optimal placements ready to blast the rest of the rounds. And yeah, it's a really different way of doing Arena. I'm so used to like setting a defense then going against other people's defense. But that's not the case here. See, sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, and it balances each other out. But yeah, Arena's interesting, and it takes a little bit to master, but it's not too hard to push to get to the Overlord rank once you get a little bit of your leveling going, and you actually can get some free ancient summoning crystals every week. So free rewards and not too hard to get them. Next up, we have Void Rift. So this Void Rift is constantly evolving as well. They added this elite mode not too long ago, And now for new players, they've also added something called like a prologue. It's kind of a prequel to Void Rift. So very first thing you'll be able to do is complete the prologue part of Void Rift to get a little bit of a taste for it and get some rewards as well. But then you'll have to hit journey level 40, count level 40, before you can actually do normal Void Rift. So keep that in mind. You're going to have first clear rewards as you complete different difficulties, and then there's going to be the normal drops every week, and you can see like what can be dropped from each thing. And actually the really cool part about this is hard and nightmare Void Rift, once you get into the late game stages, this is a place to get special artifacts for exclusives that are specific for certain heroes. Void Rift is meant to be hard though. Don't be too stressed if it's really hard. Once you get into normal or elite, it's meant to be more advanced content. Now, speaking of artifacts and gear, I'm just going to touch on this very quickly because this is another big topic. As you farm artifact material raid, you get artifacts. What will happen is you'll go to the forge and you can forge for those artifacts. So the good thing is you don't have to forge in the moment. You can just farm a bunch, then forge later. But you'll get all sorts of levels from, I don't think there's any blue. I don't know why there's blue. But the purple ones, you want to save some of these Keen Wisdom ones because they're actually pretty powerful and they're very cheap to level up. You can actually get them to be max. So 16% attack just added to your character is huge and a really, really big help, even better than a lot of the others. But the rest of the epics kind of suck, but you'll use them in the meantime. A lot of the legendaries are pretty bad, except for this Idril's Gaze. This Nightmare Samarsa is really important for Guild Boss, and this Horn has a couple unique uses. Other than that, I'd say Watchguard's Ambition is probably the only other really good legendary artifact. Maybe some Shadow's Gaze, but not good enough compared to the mythics you'll start getting. So early on, just use what you got. Don't waste your resources taking other things besides Keen Wisdom to level 25 and spending on the dupes. Save your resources for the good stuff because it does get expensive once you start getting the mythic artifacts. In this game, we have gear sets in 2 and 3 piece sets. 2 pieces come from Gear Raid 1. The 3 piece sets come from Gear Raid 2 and Gear Raid 3. Early on, you're going to be looking for the bonuses that are going to be helpful for your characters. Like, you're going to use what you got. But keep in mind, when you're low level, your base stats are lower. So when it comes to this side of things, attack bonus is often going to give you less stats than just flat attack as a stat. Once you get onto the legendary yellow gear and the mythic red gear, that's going to change. But while you're low level and you're working with level 30, 40, 50 characters, you're not going to have great base stats. So the bonuses are not going to scale as well. So don't just assume that you want attack bonus instead of flat attack when you're very early on. I'm not going to go into what gear is best because that's, again, a whole big discussion. But just use what's logical for your heroes. In this game, attack percentage is the majority of users, unless it says differently, which it will specifically say and will be very clear. For example, Azor, his skills, his talent, damage scales off defense. It says that. We have Gluttony. Damage scales off HP. Otherwise, damage scales off of attack. And just so you know, I do have videos that also highlight how to build supports, healers, how to build DPS units, how to build tanks, your defenders. So I have separate videos on how to build those heroes if you want to dive deeper into that subject. There's so much more to talk about, and this video could be so much longer, but you guys are troopers for trekking through. I really hope this information has been helpful. So I want to end the video by just pointing out some of the best heroes in the game. Let's just have a little fun and talk about who are the strongest heroes from legendaries and epics, or even some rares. As a little TLDR, I'm not going to mention everybody, but in this game, obviously the lords are very important. The lord bonuses help the whole team, so that's going to be a given that the lords are great. So Araka is really great. Elder, amazing as a fighter. He's more attack, offensive based with the northern faction. Zillitu is our queen of guild boss, but right beside her, there's some strong heroes. Arrogance is the king of everything. He is so good at pretty much everything in the game. A top hero to get early on. Salazar is a top tier guild boss hero, but he's going to be great anywhere else you need a fighter as well. Abomination is our fusion that we can do for free. So don't forget there is a fusion in this game, and you can get him for free just by fusing the epics if you finally pull them. There's also some pretty good epics that you can get along the way as fusion types as well. Ardea is probably our queen DPS in the game now, though. She's insane. Maybe one of the best, if not the best DPS in the game. Amazing damage. But I really can't talk about everybody again. So many unique heroes. When it comes to the epics, you're really going to love Wrath, especially early on, and we actually get him for free, and he's a lord, so he's going to be really important on most accounts. Deimos is going to be really important for guild boss. Dalin can be a cost regenerator if you have people that cost a lot, resource-wise, as you're going to place them into battle. The budget version of her is Narvi. There's also some quirky people like Decimus here as a rare that's really strong for using in Gear Raid 2. You plop him down to take a boulder hit and you take him right back out. You are going to get Ain for free, but he's not that great, so don't go crazy maxing him out. Take him to level 40, 50 at most, but don't take him to level 60 unless you really just get no fighters for a really long time. Defenders, we have Captain Rev was a limited time hero. You can't just get him anytime. He's more an offensive-based defender. Brokir is one of the best defenders in the game, alongside of Baron and Oleg. Very top tier defenders. We just had new Cyrus, a very cool defender, added to the game as well. And there's some other great lords that can definitely not be knocked out. Isolde is another lord that is very good. The marksmen have an OP lineup as well. Hatsa is one of the best legendaries in the game for sure. Very, very strong. We also have Silas, very, very strong. Setram is a guild boss, shield-breaking king. Hex is a magic damage-dealing marksman that smacks. Oh, there's just so many. Alaura has some really unique uses for Gear Raid 3 as well. And we have some top-tier epics like Maul and Idril for the sake of Gear Raid 3 especially. Brienne can be there as well. And our Lord, Lunaria, that's epic, is really, really helpful to extend the range of your allies, which is huge for some of the hardest content. Healer-wise, Elowin's probably the best healer in the game that brings more utility than just healing. She also brings cleansing, rage regen. Overall, Eileen is like pumps out the best heal per se, but she doesn't bring anything else to the table. Laia brings rage regen and is very, very good as a lord as well. Gwendolyn was our Christmas one added. She's more about shields and damage mitigation than actual healing. Same thing here with Sadie. She's a Gear Raid 2 queen who is very good for damage mitigation, but not the best healer. Eunomia is a top tier new healer, but unique faction, hard to get. Dolores is our queen epic of the game. Her and her jiggles, jiggle physics, if you didn't already notice in this game, yes, that's a thing. She is needed to boost your allies, but she does not give good heals herself. If you're looking for good heals, you really want Vortex, Medan, HP-based healers that are very strong. Hollow is our queen of the epics as far as rage regen if you don't have Elowin or Laia as examples. And yeah, there's a bunch of others. Nasande's not so bad either. And Autumn is another good booster to progressing content if you're stuck. She can boost your crit rate and your crit damage. Mage-wise, there's a ton of amazing mages, probably with Vierna still being queen bee of the game, but right alongside her is Boreas, who is insane and been a new addition that we all love. There is amazing lords in this category like Sulcadens and Twin Fiend, who are game changers for Guild Boss. There's just so many heroes. Comet is someone I got early on, and he is top tier for damage. Really good hero. But so many to talk about. We got new people in the game, and yeah, that is a fun category. Laurel is used for some chase strategies. She's really good. We got Iona, who is the $5 epic, and her jiggles are also very good for damage too. And there's a lot of underestimated heroes in this category. The free hero Mari brings us a ton of support with amazing vulnerability being added plus AoE damage, but her damage is not what's good. It's about her freeze and her slow. The crowd control makes her amazing. And yeah, that kind of covers all of the legendaries in this game. Yeah, that kind of covers it all the best I could in a short time period. And there's so much more I missed. There's so many more things we could talk about. There's an invite system. There are friends. Yes, you can have friends and you can give each other stamina. And yeah, this game has a lot going on. Just feel free to ask questions. And the best advice I can give is join a Discord. Join my Discord. If you have questions, noob questions, go into my war chat section and just ask. Others will help if I can't reply. So that's been it for this ultimate beginner's guide. It was a long one and hope it really helped some new people get started and have a good understanding of the game overall. I tried my best, but oh my gosh, that was a lot. Thanks for those who bared with me, and I'll see you in the next video.